There's breaking news that Elon Musk may have diverted thousands of NVIDIA GPUs from Tesla to xAI. And while this sounds bad if true, I think that there's another angle to look at this from. So let's take a look. Hey y'all, it's Dr. Know-It-All. So I was not planning on doing a video today. Number one, to rest my voice because I've got really bad allergies and it's just kicking my voice's butt. But of course, the news never sleeps. So I want to talk through this CNBC article titled Elon Musk ordered NVIDIA to ship thousands of AI chips reserved for Tesla to X and xAI. And this, of course, if you notice, was published just a few minutes ago as I record this. So of course, I'll leave a link to the original in the description. And of course, this is breaking news. I don't have all the information. I'm going to read through the article, which is relatively long and actually goes into a lot of details, which is reasonable. But I think they're missing a major angle on the story, which could significantly change our perspective on it. So let's go ahead and take a look. I've got it in reader view so that we don't have all those annoying advertisements running, but I wanted to show the time and date posting first. Anyway, the article starts with Elon Musk claims he can now grow Tesla into a leader in AI and robotics, an ambition that he said will require a lot of pricey processors from NVIDIA to build up its infrastructure. On Tesla's first quarter earnings call in April, Musk said the electric vehicle company will increase the number of active H100s, NVIDIA's flagship artificial intelligence chip, from 35,000 to 85,000 by the end of this year. He also wrote in a post on X a few days later that Tesla would spend $10 billion this year in combined training and inference compute. But emails written by NVIDIA senior staff and widely shared inside the company suggest that Musk presented an exaggerated picture of Tesla's procurement to shareholders. Correspondence from NVIDIA staffers also indicates that Musk diverted a sizable shipment of AI processors that had been reserved for Tesla to his social media company X, formerly known as Twitter. So I want to jump over to X for just a moment because I want to clarify some things, and this is where the CNBC article starts to get a little bit dicey in terms of the facts. Here I have a post from Stock Talk talking about Elon saying by the end of this year, that's 2024, Elon Musk says that Tesla will have 85,000 NVIDIA H100 equivalents powering Tesla's AI program. Notice that the word here is NVIDIA H100 equivalents. So that's not 85,000 new H100s. That could be old A100s, could be Dojo. That's always the wild card. We don't know about that. And of course, it will be a lot of H100s as well, but it's not just going to be H100s. It's going to be H100 equivalents. And that is a very big point that the CNBC article does not really address. The article says, Musk said the electric vehicle company will increase the number of active H100s. That is not the case. It's H100 equivalents from 35,000 to 85,000. So that's where things start to fall off the rails a little bit here. The other piece of information that the CNBC article leaves out is the fact that Elon said for the first time in basically forever that Tesla is no longer compute constrained right now. That within the past couple of months, they've gotten enough compute that they're able to do the data processing and the training runs that they need to. So that is a very important factor. The way I'm reading this is that xAI currently is in more desperate need of these GPU clusters than Tesla is at the moment. And so Elon is sort of balancing things. He's trading back and forth between one and the other. Now, of course, if you're a shareholder in Tesla, you might be like, wait a second, give me all the stuff. If you are a private equity holder in X or xAI, you might be like, cool, I'm getting a bunch of extra stuff that I wasn't getting before. So there is a bit of fiduciary conflict of interest, certainly between X and xAI and Tesla for Elon Musk. But I think that the way he looks at it, he doesn't really look at these companies as individuals. He sees them more as integrated entities that he's working back and forth with to create the embodied AGI that we're looking for in 2024 or 2025. Y'all know I'm a tech fan, but I'm also a huge watch nerd. I love high-end luxury watches, but they're priced like high-end luxury items. That's why I was incredibly excited when Aura Watches contacted me to sponsor today's video. Aura produces beautiful high-end watches at an amazing price. Just look at these gorgeous designs. I have a 70s-inspired Tiffany blue date model with integrated bracelet and a mesmerizing black skeletonized watch that I can't stop staring at. And these aren't some cheap quartz watches either. They're fully mechanical watches with a high-quality beating heart and an open caseback, so you can see how all the complex mechanics work together to tell the time. And better yet, they're automatic winding, so you can just wear them and they're always fully wound, accurately telling the time every day. With dead flat sapphire crystal fronts and 50 meters water resistance, they're tough as well as beautiful. This AP Royal Oak inspired beauty with date and gorgeous Tiffany blue tapisserie dial is a stunner. I can't wear it out of the house without getting compliments and questions about where to get the the watch. It's got an industry-standard Seiko NH35A movement and is an extremely wearable 40 millimeters and only 11.75 millimeters thick, so it fits right under any cuff. And check out Aura's skeletonized watch in black and gold. You can look right through the high-quality Hangzhou 7500A movement and see all the inner workings from both sides. I love the way the gold pops from the black, the way you can see the escapement beating from the front, the gorgeous finishing, and the super wearable size at 40 millimeters width and 11.75 millimeters thick. It's perfect for just about any wrist. Be sure to click the link below and use my code Dr30 at checkout to get an additional 30% off anything on the site. That makes Aura's incredible values even better, and be sure to check out Aura.watch for their huge selection of amazing watches, as well as different strap options so you can mix up the look easily. They even include a simple tool to adjust bracelet links so you can have the perfect fit in no time. Remember to click my link and use Dr30 to save 30% off your new favorite watch, and now let's get back to it. So of course, the question of whether you think this is a good idea or not probably depends on your perspective. Is your perspective from X and XAI's point of view? Is it from Tesla's point of view only? Is it from the collective good of humanity and creating a reasonable competitor to OpenAI/Microsoft and Google DeepMind and Meta? Depending on which one of those stances you take, and I personally am the third of those stances, I think the most important thing is the elevation of all of Musk's companies together to help us get to this AGI, AIA, artificially intelligent agent, potential singularity in the safest manner possible. So this is the way I'm reading it. Of course, you might have a very different point of view depending on your perspective. Continuing on with the article, shares slipped as much as 1% on the news in pre-market trading. I guess that was this morning. I haven't paid attention. By ordering NVIDIA to let privately held X jump the line ahead of Tesla, Musk pushed back the automaker's receipt of more than $500 million in graphics processing units, or GPUs, by months, likely adding to delays and setting up the supercomputers Tesla says it needs to develop autonomous vehicles and humanoid robots. Quote, Elon prioritizing X H100 GPU cluster deployment at X versus Tesla by redirecting 12,000 of shipped H100 GPUs originally slated for Tesla to X instead, an NVIDIA memo from December said. In exchange, original X orders of 12,000 H100 slated for January and June to be redirected to Tesla. So clearly this has been going on for about 6 months, half a year or so. And remember that Elon, it was back in like March or early April, I can't remember the exact date, when he said that Tesla was no longer compute constrained and they actually had enough compute. So all of this would have been happening about the time that Tesla was getting to the point where they had enough compute power to be able to do what they needed to do. But still, really interesting conflict of interest that they're moving orders from one to the other and then from the other back to the other. So, they're mixing and matching the XAI's compute needs versus Tesla's compute needs. Anyway, continuing on, a more recent NVIDIA email from late April said Musk's comment on the first quarter Tesla call, quote, conflicts with bookings, and that his April post on X about $10 billion in AI spending also, quote, conflicts with bookings and fiscal year 2025 forecasts. The email referenced news about Tesla's ongoing drastic layoffs and warned that headcount reductions with an H100 project at Tesla's Texas Gigafactory. Then there's a bunch of stuff about shareholders and things like that, and it is going to be a very interesting shareholder meeting on the 13th. Looks like I'm actually going to be there. I actually don't know. I might need to wear an asbestos suit. I don't know what that shareholder meeting is going to be like. It's going to be an absolutely wild time. If you want to come along for the ride, I will do my best to do videos and stuff while I'm there. But anyway, I'm skipping down to the bottom here because this is actually really interesting information. NVIDIA, now the third most valuable company in the world with $2.8 trillion market cap, absolutely crazy, has said it's hard to keep up with demand. Between the cloud service providers and the companies developing AI models, customers are consuming every GPU that's out there, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang said in an earnings call in May, after the chipmaker reported its third straight quarter of more than 200% revenue growth. Huang also said on an earnings call in February that NVIDIA does its best to, quote, allocate fairly and to avoid allocating unnecessarily, adding why allocate something when the data center is not ready, end quote. In naming customers that are already using NVIDIA's next generation Blackwell platform, which is beyond the H100, Huang mentioned XAI on the May call alongside 6 of the biggest tech companies on the planet, as well as Tesla. So what we can see here is another wrinkle in this entire thing, and that is that NVIDIA is specifically trying not to ship their GPUs to data centers that are not ready to install them yet. Remember, this is not like your personal computer where you plug it into the wall and it just works. You've got to build out these huge data centers. You've got to have power coming into them. You've got to have cooling. You've got to have all the fiber backbone. You've got to have the connection to the outside world. All of that stuff has to be in place before you want to bring these GPUs in, and it would be reasonable to assume in the last 6 months or so that at points xAI might have had data centers that were more ready to take on these GPUs than Tesla did. For example, Tesla might have finished a data center and put in all the GPUs, and then they have an order for a whole bunch more coming from NVIDIA and potentially some Dojo stuff that they're going to be using as well. But that data center isn't ready yet for one reason or another, and xAI's data center is ready. And so it would make sense, instead of losing this order to somebody like Google or Meta or something like that, that Elon would shift the order from Tesla to xAI temporarily because xAI is more ready to handle these GPUs right now. And then a future order of xAI would go to Tesla to make up for it when their server center is ready. So while CNBC is painting this as a very black and white thing of this is bad that Elon is doing this, in reality, you've probably got a lot of moving parts. And as a CEO of both of these companies and competing with the rest of the world trying to grab these H100s and Blackwells and whatever, you've got to be very flexible about how you spend your money, take in these orders, and push them out to your various companies in the most efficient way possible. So while the way CNBC and others are painting this as very, very bad, I actually think this is just the cost of doing business in AI, and especially doing business with NVIDIA right now, that is the belle of the ball, and everybody is trying to get their chips. And as a customer, you can't just order a bunch of them and then install them at willy-nilly as you want. You have to convince NVIDIA that you're worthy of those orders right now over the competition, that you can install them and get them up and running as fast as possible. And it just could have been possible that Tesla was not ready for something like that at that moment. Because remember, they're building out these data centers, but it's not something that you can just, flip a switch and turn on. You have to work on these things for months and possibly years to get them ready to be filled with these GPUs. So it easily could have been a circumstance where Tesla was not ready for these things yet, shift it to xAI. As the article itself said, xAI's future orders would then go to Tesla. So it's not like Tesla's missing out on anything. They're just delaying things by a few months. And as far as those internal emails about Tesla not having enough orders to fulfill the quote 85,000 H100s, remember that's 85,000 H100 equivalents, not 85,000 H100s. So we really haven't heard about Dojo in quite a while, but Dojo could be fulfilling some of that H100 equivalent metric that Elon was talking about, and of course could be filling some of the server centers, taking up some of the power, etc., which could also push back their need to order H100s and Blackwells. So while this is a really interesting and intriguing article, the headline makes it sound like Elon is doing something objectively terrible. I think the reality is much more nuanced, and I hope that we hear some more about that at Tesla's June 13th shareholder meeting. All right, so never a dull day with Elon and Tesla, is there? Let me know what you think in the comments. If I missed something, if you have a very different take and think this is objectively bad, definitely let me know. Just do it in a constructive way, right? This is a conversation we're having, and this is breaking news, so nobody knows the whole truth at this point. And of course, while you're down there, if you don't mind liking and subscribing, that really does help out the channel. Thank you so much. And finally, a big thanks once again to Aura Watch for sponsoring today's video. Be sure to check out my link in the description and use Dr30 at checkout to get 30% off your new favorite watch, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.